The topic is divorce and its consequences. I'm not talking about divorce and what's the biblical perspective of that, because we already know that even the Constitution of India is against divorce. And the Constitution is actually believing that even if there are some cracks, some problems here and there, still the wedding, the marriage is to be continued, even with some little bit of, problems, troubles here and there. The Constitution of India is expecting all the couples to continue their married life. And so to get married to a person is comparatively easy, but it's so difficult to divorce a person once they got married. The reason I have selected this topic for tonight is it's a simple reason. The other day I was looking into the the social media, the Facebook pages, and in the social media pages, few weeks before, 1 or 2 weeks before, I have seen many people sharing a picture, and in that picture is the picture of a lady who just got divorced, and after divorce, she is having a ribbon on her, a big ribbon on her shoulder, which says divorced, and she is entertaining that joy, sharing that joy with party drinks with her friends. And that's her privacy, and we don't have to say anything about that. She decided to do it in that way, so let her do that. Our concern is about the people who are supporting and celebrating that. Getting divorced is something great. If there's no freedom in your family life, if you're not happy with your family life, instead of going for an adjustment, instead of suffering too much all through your life, it's better to divorce. And freedom is something that's to be applied there in a tough marriage, in a difficult marriage. So there are many arguments for that. We can either support or not support such kind of an attitude. For me, I am not supporting, or I'm not, opposing that sort of an attitude. And it is that freedom that she was experiencing which makes her to rejoice in that way. For me, my concern is not about that. My concern is that after the divorce, what's going to happen to her? I was thinking deeply about that. I was reading some articles, and these thoughts came to my mind, and I would like to share it with you. The life of a lady, life of a man after the divorce. It's not after the marriage, but after the divorce. Many times people gets married with a lot of expectation, and in the modern world, we can see it's not like the olden times. People gets married after a lot of preparations, and it's not happening all of a sudden. Earlier, it was like father and mother goes for a proposal, daughter or son, whoever it is, has to get to that proposal that comes. Now it's not like that. Even after the proposal has been arranged, even if it's an arranged marriage, they take a lot of time to talk to each other, to know each other, share about their visions, share about their likes and dislikes, and they get a lot of time to know each other. And finally, one fine day, they get married. And after the marriage, everything is nice. Actually, when we look into the social media, everything looks so good. They wear good dresses, and young age, they enjoy everything in the best way. It's all good. Actually, there's nothing wrong in that. Long back, whatever we thought is to be kept secret, now through the social media, people are proclaiming it. What people used to do after the marriage, the sort of photo shoot and all, it's happening before the marriage. The time husband and wife used to spend after the marriage is happening before the marriage right now. So a lot of differences are there. It has its own good and bad, pros and cons and all. We all know that. I'm not touching any of those things. Whether you like it or I like it, we oppose it. That doesn't apply anyway, because all are living according to how they like, according to their understanding, according to what they see from the social media, according to what they take from other people who are known to them, who are friends with them. This is what people do. Whether we say it or not, it's not going to be accepted. Young people always are defeated in this kind of situations by the pastors, by taking few passages from the Bible and saying, Bible says this is wrong, Bible says that is wrong, this is wrong, that is wrong. But the problem is that even when the pastors say this, and when it comes to their own children's case, the same thing is going to be repeated. Then the pastor will have to find out some other verses to support the change that is happening in view at that time. So it's difficult, and it is always better not to go for any extreme levels of do's and don'ts. You can have your personal this thing, and it's always better to stand on that. And if we take Bible to support the views that we believe, it's going to be very difficult, because Bible is not a book to support what you believe or I believe. Bible is not for that. Bible is not for proving an argument. Bible is not for establishing what I believe, what I thought from my social background, from my cultural background. What I have learned is to be supported, and Bible is not to be used for that. About divorce, Bible is very clear. We all know that. Matthew chapter 19, everywhere in the marriages, people read. In the churches, everyone read. Jesus said, you cannot divorce a person unless you find some immorality in him. If that man has another woman as wife, or having a wrong contact with another woman, or if that woman is having contact with another man illegally, that divorce is to a certain extent accepted according to the word of God. Now Genesis chapter 2 verse 24 says divorce is not accepted. Matthew 19:6, divorce is permitted on account of hardness of heart. Matthew chapter 19:8 says only a hard-hearted person can go for divorce. Jews always used to ask a question about divorce. They went to the church, synagogue, to ask if there's any provisions to divorce the wife, divorce the husband. And Jews were in that habit. Deuteronomy chapter 22 verse 19 says, divorce is not allowed to those who falsely accuse their wife, falsely accusing wife or even husband also. Matthew chapter 10 verse 12 says woman could obtain divorce as well. Proverbs 2:17 also says that. Deuteronomy chapter 24:2 says they could marry after divorce. A marriage after divorce is also permitted in Deuteronomy 24:2. But when it comes to Matthew chapter 19, verse 9, Christ forbids the divorce. Malachi chapter 2, verse 13 to 16, it says marriage is sacred. We all believe that marriage is so sacred. And also it says God hates divorce. And the thing is that when we speak about marriage, this is one of the points we have to remember. God made Adam, and after some time, it was possible for God to make Eve same way he made Adam. But he didn't do that. He was separating a rib from Adam's body, and he formed it in the form of a woman, and God called them one. 1 plus 1 equals a big one. That's the mathematics we see there. So it cannot be separated. Many times what happens is one woman is getting married to a man. Sometimes this woman may not be the rib which God has made. His rib was taken, but it was some other lady. Because of their curiosity, because of the lack of patience, they both met each other. They decided to marry, but it may not be God's will. Now, when somebody is finding his wife, that means he is finding his rib. And when he finds his rib, there is all the possibility that they will continue to love each other. They'll continue to live in God's promise, and that relationship will be continued. But if it is somebody else's rib, what happens? It won't match, right? Now, if you want to do a kidney transplant, they will go for all the tests, the blood and all other counts and all other things has to be matching. Then only this transplant or blood transfusion is possible. In the same way, if you have somebody else's wife with you, if you have somebody else's husband with you, it won't match. And that's the case most of the times. This divorce is applied. That's the place where most of the people have to go for divorce. And you cannot blame them because it's like, it's not matching with each other. Now, if you get married to a cow and a dog, will they live together? No, it won't, because they have no attraction. The dog is a male dog. The cow is a female cow. Of course, cow is female. But if you try to get them married, they won't stay together because there is nothing common in them. They have no common ancestry, and their character, everything is different. It cannot be gone together. In the same way, if you have somebody else's rib with you, you cannot hold on for a long time, and after some time it will lead to divorce. Divorce is happening because of many of those kind of things. And Bible says God hates divorce. Malachi chapter 2 verse 13. And also the main loser in a divorce is the children that was born in their married life. And that is what. Now, I'm just talking to you about the consequences of divorce. After divorce, what's going to happen? And when I was reading about that lady about whom I was talking to, she was publishing her happy news in the Facebook, in the social media, and it was taken over by people all over the world. They said this is called freedom. And if you don't like somebody, if you don't want to live under someone, if you don't want to like someone, live with someone, you have all the freedom to go out and separate from the marriage covenant that you have already taken. Now, what are the consequences? It sounds a good idea. It sounds so good. It's so nice. But is it so easy? It's never easy. There are so many consequences after divorce. I'm not talking about the biblical support to that or biblical view about that. I'm not talking about any of the constitutional view or anything like that. I'm just talking to you the pain that a person who is divorced going through after the divorce. That's what I just want to tell you. First and foremost, the problem is about finance. Finding finance would not be that easy to take care of the financial things. It's a new world actually. So far, you were having a common bank account, you were sharing the money, but now it's all going to be different. A new world of economics, a new world of finding resources for your livelihood. Everything is going to be new after divorce. And then another thing is the mental health. Many times what happens is people go depressed. Depression happens. Some people goes for alcohol. Even divorced woman goes for using alcohol. This all leads to depression. And, it's all because of the after effects or the consequences of divorce. And the children mental health, that is something to be seriously thought of. The mental health of the children. Who is actually the sufferer? Who is actually the loser? It's the children. It's not husband or wife. Husband wanted to divorce his wife. Wife wanted to get free from the husband. It's done. The court allowed both of them for that. But who is the sufferer? It's the children or the child, one or two or three children. Sometimes they are going to be the sufferers. They live in a world of insecurity. They live in a world of helplessness. They finally becomes antisocial. They finally comes to a point where they can't love anyone. When they look at the neighbors, they look at a man, they look at a woman, like their father and mother, they see them as enemies. They must have seen father beating the mother. They must have seen mother abusing father, both of them fighting so hard on face to face, and they were afraid where to go, to go to mother for protection, to go to father for protection. It's the children who are suffering. Just think about the children who are suffering because of father and mother fighting, both of them taking weapons, taking sticks and fighting with each other, father writing bad stories about mother in the Facebook, and children happen to see that. Mother also does the same thing, writing wrong stories about the children's father in the Facebook. And finally, who is the loser? In which who can give them a world that is safe for them? In which world will they find safety? Will they find safety with their grandmother, grandfather? No, they won't. They cannot. They are the people who are torn apart, torn into pieces at a young age itself. Thus, therefore, they become antisocial. Sometimes they live in fear throughout their life. Some people goes mentally depressed, mentally, retarded, and that helplessness will be found. They can't concentrate on studies. They can't improve their talents, improve their abilities, and they'll be behind every other students. They'll always live in shame and fear. If somebody asks about their father or mother, that would be the time they are so discouraged and they're so fearful in their life. And then another consequence of divorce is relationship with family members, friends, neighbors. Always the society will look at a divorced woman, a divorced man with contempt. They will not say this lady was good and he was. They won't say that. A divorced person is always hated by the society. It's not easy to get along with the society. Maybe if you have an ability to please someone, appease people, maybe a little bit of things would change. But it's not going to help a lot, because people will always condemn you. People always will look down upon you. And then another thing, the sexual desires, which everyone, especially after marriage, will lead them after divorce to immoral relationships. Immorality will occur. And then another thing, it is more harder than a widowhood. A lady become widow, a man became widower, and the society will look at them with sympathy only. The society will always go to help them because their partner died. But in a case of divorce, nobody will go and help them because the society will look at them as culprits. They were unwilling to adjust with each other. They were unwilling to love each other. They didn't think about their children. They're irresponsible. They didn't like their children. So the society will not like them. Society will not accept them like a widow is accepted. Widow will have a place. The family members will always support them. The neighbors, friends, colleagues, everyone will be there to help them financially, giving advices. If possible, they'll find another partner, another marriage for them, and their children also will be specially protected. And I know there are some children who didn't have mother. Their teachers were taking care of those children in a very special way to get them good marks and all. And definitely they will also have to suffer, but at the same time, a divorced parents' children will not be accepted in the society. There are some mothers who say, I am a single mother, single father. Motherhood is more common nowadays. How does that happen? She doesn't want to be subject to a man. So she decided, I will be a single parent to my child. But the social insecurity, the social alienation that child is going to go through in the future is something that no one can fathom. So a widow will not have any enemy, but a divorced person will definitely have a lot of enemies. Now, another thing is that the emptiness in life, they will have always an emptiness in life. Sometimes after divorce, they will live in order to show the divorced partner that I can, and I will win. I will be successful. I just want to see that you are defeated and you cannot defeat me. I will be the winner. They will have that sort of an attitude for some time. Somehow I want to see my partner defeated in every area. If the partner gets cancer, if hits with failure in his business, this person will be happy about the partner who he or she has divorced. So for some time they can live in that way. But after some time, what happens? This partner whom he or she was trying to defeat was waiting to see the destruction of that partner, later on got married to somebody else and moving to another country, living there happily. You see that and you are totally broken. You are totally defeated. You will feel like, I don't want to live anymore, because you see, I just wanted to defeat that person, but now it's not happening. And that person has won all the victory over me. So what is the point of my life? This is a situation where we feel defeated. We want to think of suicide. And this is a time where we hate them more and more. There are three stages of love. Before marriage or after marriage. During marriage time, a person loves the partner so much, especially before marriage. The love between the husband and wife or the would-be's would be so hard. They love like anything. But after the marriage, after some time, the love will be reduced. Of course, we all know that that is the process of marriage. But this intimacy will not be reduced. But after some time, when they decided to get divorced, and you know how much they loved before marriage, and the hate at this point of time for divorce would be much, much more powerful than how much you have loved that person. So if love is 50 percentage, hate would be 150 percentage, and it's increasing and it won't decrease. The only desire you have after divorce is to see that the partner whom you have divorced is to be destroyed. Some people in the social media will say, yeah, we are still good friends and we talk to, yeah, we call at times. And no, it's all wrong. It won't happen. If you were able to adjust with that person, at least a single percentage, you wouldn't have divorced. And so it's simply saying we had a tea and then we got divorced. We just went to the hotel, we had a movie together, and then we got divorced. It's all lies only. It's just to make other people see that we are all fine, and this is that, the divorce is just nothing. It's to give a wrong message to the society that they act in all this rough ways, all this lie ways. They are simply acting. It's not true. It cannot be true. You cannot go together with that person to the hotel and having a tea together, coming back to the court, and then getting divorced, giving shake hand, giving a hug, and separating from there. It's not going to happen. In that case, why are you getting divorced? That's the question. You're becoming an anti-social element here. So it's all not going to happen. If the love, as I told you, is 50 percentage, the hate would be 150 percentage. You just want to see that person destroyed, ruined, at any cost, at any way. And it is the presence of PTSD, that is post-trauma stress disorder. And what are the mental disorders that comes in the life of a person who is divorced? This cannot be understood by others. Others will not understand. But I'm just telling this for the purpose that we all will come to understand. If anybody wants to get divorced seriously, and then those people should understand this is that this is what is waiting for them. They will have a destructive behavior, memory upsets. You sometimes don't remember anything, forgetting everything, even the route. You were driving, coming back home, but you forgot to stop at home. You went 2-3 kilometers further, and then you realize, oh, I crossed my house. I just want to go back. So that memory upsets, memory disorders, nightmare. You thinking about something, you're afraid to go out. Night means you're so much afraid. Then fearsome flashbacks, thinking about all those moments that you have spent with your partner, that scenes of fight, the time you have spent together in the court, and all those things, thinking about all that, thinking about the face of the little innocent children, that flashbacks will be fearsome. And then another thing is decreased interest in activities. You have no interest in any of the activities. You feel lonely. You will start blaming others. And you will have that habit of irritability. You don't like anything. You hate everything. And you will have that sort of sleeping difficulty and then anxiety. The most important thing is the suicidal tendency. You will think about suicide. You will seriously think about suicide. The studies shows that 98% of the people who are divorced will think seriously about suicide. They will not commit suicide, but they would love to die. They will wait for that day where they die. If they die so early, it's well and good according to their understanding. Now, only advice I want to say to all those people out there, think many times before getting married. Before selecting a partner, you have to ask few questions to yourself. Question number 1, should I get married? Question number 2, will I be able to take care of my family, love my wife? Question number 3, most important, why am I getting married? Is it for divorce or is it to continue at any cost? Will I be able to get adjusted with this person? And if you have a humility to adjust with that person, that partner, then only you get married. Marriage is not just about excitement. Don't take a decision. Many people think marriage is like you see a partner on the roadside and you can have that person in your. No, it's not going to be like that. You are going to spend the whole lifetime with that person, be it 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 60 years. It's going to be forever. You cannot think of a marriage that's going to break after some time. You have to find the person who is going to be your partner for the rest of your life. And so, as Bible says, find out your rib. If it's not your rib, don't get married because you're marrying somebody else's rib. The problem is that now your rib is remaining somewhere, not married, and that rib will get married to somebody else. So it's all like disaster, all these weddings. And earlier when these arranged marriages were happening, there was no much divorces as now. Now divorces are more because when people go to the college, workplace, on the roadside, everywhere they find a girl or boy and they share their heart. They live together, and that becomes a disaster finally. So it's always better to wait for God's time that the Lord will bring your partner, not a good partner, but your partner will come into your life so that you will be able to love each other, know each other, adjust with each other, live together forever till death parts. That's what Bible says. Not an easy thing. So the mental trauma that a person who is divorced going through cannot be understood by others. It's so deep that they feel that uh, uh, suicide is the only option for them. And some people gets married, and of course some people gets again married, and that may be a good thing. We are not dealing with that. But the mental trauma divorced people go through is so severe and it's so serious. Now, I will tell you one more thing and we'll pray and close. When is a person gets married actually? When is the marriage of a person happens? And I will tell you the day you share your heart with someone and you receive that person's heart. Of course, young boys and young girls will get attracted to others. And you told them, I want to marry you. But that person said, no, I cannot marry you. No problem. And you said, I want to marry you. That person also thought this is a good proposal, so I want to marry. During your college time, during your job work time, you got attracted, shared your heart to someone, and you both are having the shared heart. Your heart is with him and his heart is with you. At a time like that, you are married. According to the constitution, that's not marriage. According to the parents' understanding, it's not married. According to the society, the social situations, it's not marriage. But in heavenly records, that's the marriage. Even before legally getting married, many people are already married and divorced. So that's the tragedy. So marriage should happen with the person God is going to show you, with the blessing of the parents, according to the social norms, according to the rules and regulations of the country we live in. And that is when marriage becomes prosperous. And this thing called divorce and the post divorce trauma, which can be avoided, it will all happen only if we trust God for our future.